Hi there, and thank you so much for joining this episode of Wind Down Wednesday. This Wind Down Wednesday, we are going to focus on serving the client as a part of your business development efforts and what the best way is for you to do that. So in one of the workshops that we offer at Strategy Academy, we talk a lot about serving the client and using customer service as a business development tool. And I just wanted to highlight that a little bit today, considering that I just became a part of an organization here in the Georgia area that is actually rebranding and calling itself Dress for Success Georgia, and it was previously known as Dress for Success Atlanta. And as I went through the orientation today, I got to thinking about this very workshop that we offer at Strategy Academy and just how we, as business owners, as professionals, should perhaps include customer service at the forefront of what we do when serving a client, and what that means. So I just wanted to highlight that today and talk a little bit about that on this Wind Down Wednesday. So in the workshop that is offered, we talk about being of service to the client and anticipating the client's needs and just kind of thinking in advance of the things that the client is going to need, or issues or problems or things that they're going to face next. And in being of service to these types of clients, yes, you are getting paid for the work that you are doing, whether you're an attorney or whatever the service offering is that you provide. But in this case, we're talking about being an attorney, being a service provider who is providing legal expertise and legal advice to clients. When you are working with a client, you are essentially put on a pedestal by the client. That's just the way that it is and how it works in this space. And your client is really leaning on you and expecting you to be the expert. They are expecting and wanting you to be of service to them, even though they might not say that directly to you. Essentially, that is what they're needing and wanting. They want you as their legal expert to think about the things that are going to be coming up, that are going to impact them, that they may not have any idea about. They perhaps don't even understand what that even means. But in their minds, even if they're not able to articulate that, what they're needing and wanting, and essentially what will set you apart as an attorney that's providing exceptional service to clients, is anticipating those needs and positioning yourself as a service provider of service to the client. And a good way for you to think about that and what that could look like for you is think about organizations that you volunteer with, that you are providing your time or whatever other resource it is that you're pushing into that organization, so that that organization is able to help others, to serve others. So think about the way that they go about anticipating, like I said, the needs of the client, how they treat that client that comes in, just how gentle that they are, how patient that they are with those individuals that they're serving and that they're working with. These very things can be transferred across in the way that you serve your clients, in the way that you take care of your clients, the way that you're available to the client, and just overall treating the client, right? So when you're thinking about how you can be of service and how you can differentiate yourself and your practice and perhaps your entire law firm from competitors and others in your space, just think about how you can be of service. How can you lighten the load of the individual that you're serving? How can you help them along the way for their next step, so that they're not feeling stressed, so that you can help them that whatever that one thing is. And sometimes this could even be you referring them to somebody who will be able to help them with the next challenge that will be coming up. One particular client that I work with right now directly has done an amazing job at setting up what I call an ecosystem around the service that she provides to her clients. So in knowing that she's providing legal services in the family law space, she knows that an individual that's coming to her, typically for a contested divorce, for example, may need a therapist, or they might need some childcare services, or perhaps they might need somebody to help them get ready for going to an interview, because they might have been a stay-at-home mom for a long time, out of the workforce for a long time. So she has figured out what that ecosystem needs to look like, and essentially she has fixed things in a way that she can be of service, because now that the client is working with her on a divorce, she's thought about what it is that they are going to need outside of the legal services that she's providing to them. And that is one example of being of service to your clients. Think about all of the other things that make up the ecosystem to allow that client to move forward, right? So this is just one example that I'm sharing here, but depending on what area of practice you are in, this is of course going to look different for you. But I'm always happy to connect with you or anyone who's interested in perhaps talking about what that ecosystem could look like to serve the client, because these very small tidbits essentially could differentiate your practice from another and land clients right into your practice without you having to make super big or extra efforts. So in closing out this Wind Down Wednesday, I just wanted to encourage you to think about how to serve your clients as you are providing them legal services, whatever that might look like, and just think about what their next need would be, what the next challenge could potentially look like, what hump in the road they would need to get by in the event that the next thing happens. So just see how you can incorporate that into your practice and how you serve your clients, and I promise you that the relationship will bloom from there, and perhaps even turn into a referral or a client that keeps coming back to you. Thank you so much for joining this Wind Down Wednesday. I hope to see you next time.